Hey everyone. Okay, so if you're looking to get more time out of your day, you feel like it is always so hectic, you never have time to do the things you want to do, you're barely getting done the things on your to-do list, or maybe you're not at all. Today's video is for you. Today I'm talking about the 7 habits you need to manage your time better. For those of you who are looking for ways to be more productive, to get more done, and at the same time, to have more downtime and more time for the things that matter most in your life, this is the video for you. These 7 habits came about after years and years of managing a crazy, outrageous schedule with 5 kids, including 2 special needs kids, 2 businesses running out of my home, PTA president, Girl Scout leader for 2 troops, etc., etc. I was most definitely burning the candle at both ends. I was exhausted, on the verge of a complete breakdown, and I started to reevaluate what I was doing with my time and created these 7 habits that I have used ever since to be more productive, more creative, get more done in my day, and have more time for rest, relaxation, and connect with the people I love most. So let's get started. Number 1 is time tracking. Time tracking is absolutely essential, especially if you are neurodivergent like I am. Not understanding how much time things take and not scheduling appropriately for it is incredibly problematic. I struggled for years and years, especially with time tracking related to traveling. So I would make appointments where one appointment ended at 1 o'clock, the next appointment started at 1 o'clock, and give absolutely no consideration to driving. I know that's really extreme, and probably most of you are not doing that, but that is a really good example of where I was struggling with time tracking. In addition, I also found myself being really overwhelmed with small tasks because I didn't know how much time they took. Things like unloading the dishwasher, for example, felt like a really daunting task to me that I struggled to get into my calendar and into my day, even though it would make things much easier throughout the day, because I couldn't recognize how much time that task would take. So on both ends, I was struggling to get things into my schedule because I thought that they took longer than they did. I was scheduling too many things in my schedule that did take a longer period of time and not giving myself enough time to do them. And so I found myself feeling constantly overwhelmed, like I didn't have enough time. I couldn't get it all done. Which is exhausting. And then I would often honestly find myself just completely checked out, zoned into scrolling on social media or YouTube or binging Netflix because I was feeling just so overwhelmed and finding myself completely crashing. So, understanding how to track your time, tracking your time, understanding how long various different tasks take helps you create a schedule that will work for you. Now, you probably already have heard me talk a little bit about time tracking when I talked about bedtime and morning routines and bedtime routines and morning routines for night owls. Check out those videos if you haven't yet. But I talk a lot about really understanding how long those routines take. So you can time track based on individual things that you do or tasks that you do, or you can time track based on routine sets if you have routines throughout your day. But understanding how much time things take really matters. Number 2 is let go. This is probably the hardest one on the list for me. Figuring out what I could let go of, or what I could delegate, or what I could stop doing was really challenging. I think it's challenging for most of us because we live in such a productivity based hustle culture, right? Where we're constantly getting this message that we need to be busy, that we need to be productive, that we need to do more, that we're not doing enough. And so it can be very difficult to determine what we can let go of, especially because we feel like we should be able to do it all. Other people are doing it all and they make it look easy. That is 100% not true. Other people are not doing it all. They are certainly not doing what they're doing easily. Most people are struggling with overwhelm and stress around time management and not having enough time. You are just self aware enough to know that this is a problem and that you need to address it. If you use my EPD method, it becomes really easy to logically assess what things you can let go of. Now, a lot of times when people use my EPD method, they have a temptation to get rid of things that feel more frivolous, like downtime, like watching a show on TV, things like that. And I have to warn you that that is not the way to go. That downtime, the time that you spend relaxing, the time that you spend resting, the time that you spend sleeping, the time that you spend connecting with your loved ones, that time has an incredible return on investment. It causes you to be more productive, more creative, and to show up better in your life as a whole. So it's really important that we recognize that things like goal work or journaling or having a cup of coffee by ourselves in the morning really have a profound impact on improving our time usage throughout the day. To learn more about the EPD method, which I use for time, money, and home management, make sure that you check out my Take Control of Your Life courses. So, take control of your money, take control of your time, take control of your home. Those are available for purchase or they come with an Inner Circle membership. And you get the course and the workbook and a great community to talk to and to work with, in addition to weekly live coaching with me. So I hope to see you there. It's only $7.99 a month. Number 3 is schedule it. Whether you have a written planner or you keep it on a list, it is very important to actually have a plan for how you're going to spend your time. Now, this isn't a rigid plan, and every single second should not be accounted for. But having an idea of what needs to get done and how you're going to do it and the structure in which you want to approach it is really helpful. It will keep you from having those like peak, super overwhelming time commitments and then dropping off into valleys where you are burnt out and now you need a day or 2 days or 3 days to rest after that insane amount of time commitment. It'll help you spread things out consistently throughout the week. One of my best tips for scheduling is actually to make sure that you schedule in transition time so that you have time to move from one set of tasks to another, and also to schedule a block of time for catch up. I like to use my catch up block as 2 to 4 on Friday afternoons. I catch up on things around the house, things for work, a variety of things, in part because I work from home. So that works for me, and I can get both of them in there at the same time. If you don't work from home, you might want to schedule a half an hour to an hour for catch up at work and a half an hour to an hour for catch up at home. I like to put an end cap on this so that I am not playing catch up for an extended period of time. If I don't have anything to catch up on, which happens a lot more frequently now as I've gotten better at implementing these habits and doing this consistently, I actually just let myself have that time as free fun time. A lot of times I spend that time playing Scrabble with my husband or watching a movie, and just basically unwinding in addition to any other unwind time that I have scheduled throughout the week. So it's okay. We don't need to fill that time with something productive, but it is good to have a little bit of overflow time to really set yourself up for success, and to prevent yourself from feeling like you're under the gun all the time. Number 4 is stack it. One of the best things that we can do to make more time in our day is to commit to doing like things with like things. Now, some people do this. For example, if you don't really like cooking, but you're trying to eat more from home for financial reasons or health reasons, having some meal prep time is really helpful, because when you prep your meals all at one time, you have one cleanup. You are staying in that same task for a more extended period of time. Other things that can be stacked are things like wiping down the bathroom while the kids are in the bath, running all of your errands at one time, creating your appointments back to back. Like a lot of people I know have a day where they do all of their appointments or a morning where they do all of their appointments so that they only have that running around one time in the week. Now, if stacking it doesn't work for you because you just like more variety in the day, I'm going to go ahead and let you know that that is completely fine. These techniques work for a lot of people. in their lives. But for some of us, we may naturally have the desire to jump around a little bit more in what we're doing and to have a little more variety in our day. Maybe you get bored doing something for a more extended period of time, like meal prepping, for example, or you're like me and you just like cooking every night. I know people think that's weird. That's okay. I want you to work around this the best way you can. But what I find is easiest is to stack tasks that I really don't want to do, that I do not look forward to, but that still need to happen, that I can't let go of because they're too essential. That way, I kind of rip off the band aid and get them all out of the way at one time. Next, number 5 is going to be prevent urgency. Part of how I prevent urgency is by stacking things together that I don't like doing. Because I'm going to be honest here, if I don't like doing it, there's a high likelihood if I don't stack it and get it in my schedule, I am going to procrastinate. And when I procrastinate, it's going to show up in my schedule in a very urgent way. And I don't know, it's Murphy's Law or something. It will always show up at the most inconvenient time, right? And so I like to make sure that I'm always working to prevent urgency. A lot of how I do this is by scheduling things I don't like doing on Mondays. I leave my Mondays clear. I schedule the things I don't want to do, the things I know I'm likely to put off. I stack them all together and I just knock them out. So I have the rest of the week to relax, and so that I don't have to, meaning relax and do the things I prefer to do on my to-do list. But I don't have urgent things popping up everywhere. They're done. They're all out of the way. I was raised with a eat the frog mentality where you do the things you don't want to do first. That way they're not weighing on your mind. You're not feeling stressed out about them. You're not feeling overwhelmed, thinking about when you're going to get them done because you already took care of them early on. Number 5 is prioritize organization. I like to schedule about 15 minutes every single week to organize something that needs to be organized. In addition to that, I also prioritize organization by organizing things as they come into my home. Things like papers, for example, are a really big deal to get through right when they come into my house. Everything has a place with mail or other papers. That way I know what I'm doing with them. I use a mailbox system. There is a YouTube video about schoolwork mailboxes that I used for my kids' school. I also use that for other papers. So I have a different system where I file things like bills, places that need to be called, things that need to be filed, and then I tend to do that all at one time. And that way, it's all in one place. I know where things are. One of the things about prioritizing organization that's so important is it makes it easier for you to do new tasks. So you don't have to spend a lot of time getting things together. You don't feel so rushed or pressured getting ready to do the next thing on your to-do list. So I also always kept bags. For example, I would keep packed bags for the kids' activities. I kept packed bags for things like going to the park or the beach or going to the dentist or the doctor, so that there were things I could just grab and go, and it made it so much easier. And by the way, as a little added bonus secret here, make sure that you put your kids' uniform in the bag too, if they have one. That way everything is all together. I always kept those bags in my laundry room, so I would just get their practice clothes or their uniform or whatever it was right out of the dryer, throw it in the bag, usually not folded unless there was like a wrinkle thing related to the activity. And then the kids could just go grab their outfit out, including their shoes, put it on, and we could leave. So understanding that if you are a little bit organized, if you kind of have a space for the things that you know you're going to need on a routine basis, it'll take you a lot less time and you will avoid a lot of stress because everything is right where you need it. Number 7 is my favorite by far, which is keep a to-do list. I think to-do lists are really important. There's a few different reasons for it. One is keeping a to-do list, just so you know, is at the end of the night, you write down whatever you did that day, right? You add in the things you did and cross them off. Who doesn't like crossing things off their to-do list? I mean, if you don't like crossing things off your to-do list, I want you to tell me in the comments. I have to know about it because I've never met a person who doesn't like to cross things off on their to-do list. So what you do with the to-do list is at the end of the day, as you go through what your to-do list was for the day, some of those things you may have gotten done, some of them you didn't, some of them you may need to move, right? You add things that you did throughout the day. So you go through your day and you think about what you were doing in your day. One of the reasons this matters is because a lot of times we get sidetracked in our day, and there's nothing wrong with that. It happens. We're all living in the real world. Things come up. No matter how much we try to prevent urgency, things happen. We have a kid home sick, for example, so we didn't get anything done on our to-do list because we were taking care of our sick child. We had a family emergency. We had a pipe break in the house. Things happen. We got waylaid in the kitchen and ended up cleaning the whole kitchen top to bottom because we got distracted by something in there. So we didn't get other things done, but we got the kitchen cleaned. And what happens is when we don't keep a to-do list, we feel like we wasted all that time, when in fact we didn't. We got other things done. When we keep a to-do list, we can feel proud of ourselves for our accomplishments that day. And it gives us the ability to look back and see two things. It will help you to see, one, what things are recurring on your to-do list that might need to actually go on your to-do list because they're things you routinely do, but you've forgotten about. Two, they will also help us see where our priorities are. What things do we naturally, instinctively do with our time? Do those things really matter to us? Are those reflective of our values? A lot of times we struggle to think of what our values really are, but I will tell you, when you look at your to-do list, you will see trends that present themselves as, oh my goodness, that's something I really value. That's something that's really important to me to dedicate time to. And you can make sure that you actually are more intentional. You can make sure that you are actually more intentional about spending your time, allotting your time to those things that are frequently showing up on your to-do list. Now, these 7 habits, if you use them, will help you to not only be more productive, but they will also help you to have more downtime and to have more time for the things that you most love. Warning though, do not use these 7 habits just so that you can fill your schedule more. The point of this exercise is not so that you can work 20 hours a day. The point of this exercise is not so that you can get 15 more things done a day. The point of this exercise is to create balance, to create space where you can just be, where you can just be with your loved ones, where you can just enjoy your life, where you can commit time and energy to the things that you love the most. So as we are stepping away from this lesson, I want to remind all of you that you are not a human doing. You are a human being. And as you get better at managing your time, as you get better at implementing these 7 habits, resist the temptation to do more and lean in to the opportunity to be your very best self, to show up in your life in the ways that make you proud, to take that extra time to build a life that you love, and to stay in that space of peace and balance and harmony. Do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you don't miss a single thing. And I hope to see you in Inner Circle, where we will be digging even deeper on stress management, how to accomplish your goals, and how to build the life that you deserve and that you have been dreaming about. Bye, everyone.